Hi everyone, and welcome to this quick lecture on why we eat. The follow-up lecture to this is called How We Digest, Absorb, and Transport Our Food. So I had originally put these together as one long lecture, but I'm separating them out so that you can kind of absorb this mini lecture and then put quite a bit more time focusing on digestion, absorption, and transportation of food within our bodies. So before we get to those three processes, digestion, absorption, and transportation of food, we have to talk about why we eat. So we're all familiar with the term hunger. Hunger is like that physiological pang that we feel within our bodies, usually within our stomach or abdominal region, that says, oh my goodness, I am so hungry, I really need to eat. Put food in my body. So hunger is this, it's a real thing, it's a real feeling, it's basically a process actually within our bodies. We'll look at that on the next slide. So why we feel hungry is because our bodies require calories. Calorie is a form of energy, like we talk about light bulbs having different watts of energy. Calories are how we talk about the amount of energy within food. So our bodies literally require energy in order to function, and that energy we talk about is calories. And food provides calories. In particular, it is the macronutrients within our foods that provide calories, so the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And then we take those calories and we convert them into another form of energy that is called ATP, and we'll look at that not this week, but next week, and in the several lectures following this one. So we take energy from our food, from our carbohydrates, from our fats, from our proteins, and we convert it into another form of energy, and we use that energy to think, to breathe. We use it for our heartbeat. We use it when we're laughing or singing or playing. We use it when we're studying or when we're working at a job. We use it if we play sports. So we use energy all the time. We use energy for everything we're doing. We use energy even to digest our food. So that's why we get hungry, is when we get low in energy. So we need to eat to sustain energy within our bodies. There's another really, really important reason for why we eat. And that reason is because we also need micronutrients in our bodies. So micronutrients, typically being vitamins and minerals, are required for our bodies for pretty much everything. So we require energy for everything, and then we require different vitamins and minerals to actually be able to utilize that energy. So vitamins and minerals help different systems within our digestive tract to digest food. Different vitamins and minerals help within our absorption, within the system of absorbing molecules from our food. We require vitamins and minerals to absorb nutrients out of our intestines and absorb them into our bloodstream. We require vitamins and minerals to absorb different nutrients into our body cells. And then we require nutrients to eliminate waste products. And then if you think about pretty much any organ system in the body, so the liver or the heart, the kidneys, the brain, muscular systems, all of those systems require different vitamins and minerals to function. So it's another huge reason for why we need to eat, is because we need to supply our body with those micronutrients. So real food, like we talked about in last week's discussion, and which is ongoing for this week, real food provides vitamins and minerals. And real food is food that is easily identifiable as what it originally was as a plant or an animal. We don't eat cardboard, we don't eat wood, we don't eat curtains or tabletops. We eat real food, we don't eat plastics. So if you can identify it as being pretty immediately having derived from a plant or an animal, then you can rest fairly assured that it's real food and it's going to provide you micronutrients and macronutrients. So our body regulates this hunger mechanism through a few different ways, right? We don't just go about feeling hungry all the time. So within our stomachs, that's the image on the slide here, two different images of the stomach. So you see the purple and the blue humps. So those are stretch and density receptors, because our stomachs actually change size. They can go down to like 1 liter in volume, and they can go up to 10 liters in volume depending on whose stomach it is and how much food the person's eaten or hasn't eaten. So our stomachs change their volume dramatically depending on whether we've not eaten for a while or just eaten a meal. So these stretch receptors and density receptors actually are connected to our central nervous system. And so when our stomach is really small, those stretch and dense receptors send signals through our nervous system, through the spine, to our brain to say, hey, look, we're really low volume right now. We need to be a bigger volume. We need to be fed. So it's one way we regulate hunger within our bodies, because also once our bellies get full, as depicted in the image on the left there, those stretch receptors and density receptors again send a message to the brain to say, hey, we're full, we're satisfied, we don't need to eat, stop eating, do something else, right? So it's like a constant feedback loop. So we're constantly sending these messages from the stomach to the brain, and then from the brain to our bodies to take action or not. So the second way that our bodies regulate hunger is through hormones. So hormones are chemical messengers, and these basically typically travel through the bloodstream to get from one organ to the next. So different digestive organs secrete hormones or release hormones, and a lot of times these hormones will travel to the brain to tell our brain, again, either the stomach is empty or full, and distended is a way we say that the belly is full. Then there's this third component that also regulates hunger, and this is probably the most important of all, is that our level of hunger can be affected by the type and the quality of the food that we eat. So again, if you look back at the picture in the top right corner, the picture on the left is showing how full your belly would be if you ate 500 calories or 500 units of energy coming from natural plant food. So say a really big salad, like a kale salad, or a bunch of grilled zucchini and squash and peppers and mushrooms, or maybe a roast of sweet potatoes and onions and carrots and beets and turnips, or a really nice veggie soup. So filling yourself up on vegetables, or maybe it would be beans or lentils or nuts and seeds, comparing that to how full you would get from eating the same amount of calories, but from processed food. So like Wendy's or McDonald's or Arby's or Burger King or pizza or fries or chips or soda or candy. You can take in the same amount of energy, but if you're eating it from processed food, you're still going to feel hungry. See how the stomach on the right is not full? So there's all this space that still needs to get filled up. 500 calories of energy. Whereas when it was coming from plant foods, we ate 500 calories of energy and we filled the whole stomach up. So depending on the type or the quality of the food that we eat, we may feel satisfied after we've eaten 500 calories, or we might still feel hungry because we ate nutritionally empty food, right? So processed foods basically provide zero nutritional value, right? They don't provide any of the vitamins or minerals that our bodies rely on so heavily. They obviously provide calories, so we're getting macronutrients from them, but we're not getting any of the micronutrients. So the quality of the food very strongly affects our hunger. And lastly, for this little PowerPoint, we have the term appetite. So hunger and appetite are different, but very much related. So appetite is having a psychological desire to consume a certain food or specific food, where hunger is this physiological need to eat. Appetite is just saying, oh, I want to eat the cheesecake instead of the chocolate cake, or oh, I'm in the mood for pasta tonight instead of soup and salad, right? So appetite is what do you feel like eating? Appetite is not, oh my goodness, I am so hungry, I must consume something. So in an ideal world, our hunger cues basically go along really well with our appetite. So ideally, the foods that we have a desire to eat are also the foods that are going to satisfy our hunger by giving us the proper nutrients, right? Ideally. So appetite is triggered by some different things. Appetite can be triggered by sensory data. So that's your 5 senses: sight, taste, smell, sound, and touch. So maybe you hear somebody chewing or eating and you think, oh, I want to eat. That's just hearing it. And so then thinking you also want to eat it. Or if you see somebody eating, or if you smell somebody cooking, you might become aware of food. And so you think, oh, I'd like to eat right now, but you're not actually hungry. So sensory data affects our appetite to eat, not our hunger. And then social and cultural cues. So this is huge, right? Like most of the time when we celebrate something, we celebrate with food. So if you got a promotion at work, or people graduate from high school or college, or they get a new job, or it's a birthday party or a holiday, or different emotions, right? So if we're happy and we're celebrating, or if we're kind of sad because maybe we didn't do well on an exam, or we got fired from a job, or we didn't get the job we wanted, or we break up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, or we have a fight with our parents, right? All of these emotions, whether good or bad, a lot of times encourage us to eat. And then learned factors too. So again, a lot of families, not every family, but a lot of families maybe have dinner together at the same time. So you kind of learn a time to eat dinner, or they wake up and they have breakfast first thing in the morning, or maybe they wake up and they do some chores for an hour or two and then they eat. Or maybe every time somebody comes home to visit, they have a snack or a meal, right? Or you come home from school and you have a snack. So kind of these learned cues for when and where and how to eat. And then also cultural cues, going back up to the middle bullet, the middle picture on the bottom, you see this billboard ad. So what we see, again, right, that's also one of the senses. What we see, that's just a billboard ad. It's not actually food, but we still see it, and we see a picture of food and we think, oh, right, I could go for a hamburger, totally. But we're not actually hungry for it, right? So again, these different things affect our appetite, our desire to consume food, but not exactly whether we're truly hungry for food and in need of nutrients. All right, so please check out the next lecture too, so you can start to understand what actually happens within our bodies when we do eat. Thanks for listening.